Have you guys ever wanted to watch anime with me? Well, now you guys can. We watch all type of anime and we do it on a nightly basis. All you guys have to do is follow me on Twitch and click the link in the description to join the Discord. With that out of the way, let's get into the intro. A character who I think we overlook in terms of MCs and terms of strength, we have Luffy. Now, not necessarily we're going to be comparing him to be stronger than MCs like Goku, Ichigo, Natsu, etc. But over the years, Luffy has actually gained access to several forms to be able to combat his opponent at different times. And I think that he overlooks and he can is overlooked because of how little bit of forms he has, and he also overcomes his opponents with might and guts. Luffy wants to become the Pirate King, and of course that means that he's going to have to fight the strongest of there are, Marines, maybe revolutionaries, probably not, but and other pirates. And there are at times where there are opponents that are so strong that not anybody but Luffy on the crew could actually fight and be able to take care of. And if you guys enjoy regular One Piece content, then make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you guys never miss out on a video. My name is Potential Unleashed, and let's analyze all of Luffy's forms in terms of strength. So for number 7, I have Gear 3rd. Gear 3rd was developed by Luffy during the pre-time skip, more specifically the Water 7 arc, where he also learned and used Gear 2nd. However, when he uses this gear, he uses this in a completely different direction that Gear 2nd goes to. So unlike Gear 2nd, he doesn't have anything to do with speed, but this gear primarily focuses on nothing but raw power. By biting into his thumb, or really any part of his body, Luffy bites into the bone, if you will, and he makes a bone balloon, and Luffy can turn his body to the size of something like a giant, where he's been shown to destroy ships, knock down the strongest creature, defeat giants, and more. We first see him use this technique against Rob Lucci, and he was able to severely weaken him. But in the pre-time skip, this technique, it would lose and have a lot of drawbacks in that it could shorten Luffy's lifespan. For number 6, we have Gear 2nd. If this video was about going by nothing but raw power and strength, well, I would probably put this the lowest on the list. But no matter how strong your opponent is, or no matter how strong you are, if you're not as fast as your opponent, you're not going to be able to hit them. And I think Future Trunks in the Cell fight gave a perfect example of that. But Gear 2nd is actually the first gear that Luffy was shown to develop. And after the fight with Aokiji, he realized that he couldn't stay at the same level that he was at and decided it was time to advance himself. Incorporating his Devil Fruit powers into it, he uses Gear 2nd to basically pump and blood throughout his body, making it faster so that way he can enhance all his abilities and strike quicker and strike harder. He incorporated the Soru technique from the Riko Shiki techniques, and also his being in Gear 2nd was strong enough to break the Tekai, or the iron body, of the CP9 agents. For number 9, I have the combination of Gear 2nd and 3rd. Something that we've actually rarely seen Luffy use. I think that the only time that we've seen this has to be against Moria and Kaido. Luffy uses this to have a complete balance of speed and power, which I'm going to put an asterisk by because I find it really hard to believe having like a gigantic part of your body, it doesn't leave you at a disadvantage at all. But Luffy, he doesn't really rely on this much. I kind of wish he did, because it would be kind of cool to see him incorporate these two techniques more instead of having to go to another gear. maybe he can work on this. Who knows? But before the time skip, like I said earlier, using these techniques had a drastic strain on his lifespan. It was even stated that it would shorten his life. But now that he's trained for 2 years using hockey and other things, he's able to use these attacks like it's nothing.
Luffy wa ore hitori da ze.
For number 4, we have Nightmare Luffy. This is a form that was exclusive to Thriller Bark. During this arc, I believe Luffy was fed around 100 or so shadows in order to defeat Oars and Moria. Now keep in mind, the entire Straw Hat crew, even though it was pre-time skip, they still struggled against this opponent. And then after consuming the shadows, Luffy, he grew a great deal in size. His skin turned blue. He looked like the freaking Hulk, and his hair, instead of being flat, it was actually spiked up. Now, although this was only a temporary power-up, it was strong enough to easily dog-walk Oars. And I think if Luffy trained more, he probably could hold even more shadows. And then, who knows, maybe he could potentially link it with the gears that he's already using, and it could make the form even stronger.
Force!
For number 3, I have Gear 4th form of Tankman. Gear 4th is Luffy's current strongest gear, and Tankman kind of works like the Gear 3rd version of Gear 4th. But the difference is that Luffy inflates with Gear 4th. He inflates his muscles instead of his bones, and he also uses Haki. But one difference is that Gear 4th, where Luffy inflates his body, he looks stuffed as fluff, and this is only after he ate all of Cracker's crackers. And this, I don't think that it could be the Gear 3rd version. I kind of said that earlier, but I don't think it is. I just think it was that he was fat. But hey, if you perceive it that way, that's all up to you. That's just nitpicking on my part. If you guys want to agree with that, you can. But the only time that we see this is against Cracker, and it allowed him to one-shot Cracker. But here's the thing, that the entire night Luffy fought Cracker in Gear 4th and in Gear 2nd and Gear 3rd, he was struggling. And him being a one-shot, that was kind of funny, but a little weird at the same time. And the only drawback about this is because he's so freaking fat. Oh, I cannot say that. That's not nice. Because he's so big-boned, okay, Luffy cannot move around as much, so he loses mobility, but he gains in durability. Snake Man. For number 2, we have Gear 4th form of Snake Man. My personal favorite of the Snake Man, the Gear 4th forms, but Snake Man is one of the most powerful forms because it allowed him to be able to defeat someone who could see in the future and is at first commander level. Where we are at in the series, basically, after first commander is just top tiers, people like Yonkos and Admirals, so that's pretty impressive. But unlike any other Gear 4th form, this version of Luffy, he's more sleek and has a lean look where it boosts his speed exponentially. The only time we've seen this form was against Katakuri in an uncanon. We saw it in the movie Stampede where he fought against Bullet. But the speed has to be impressive if it allows someone who can see into the future and is able to dodge your attacks before you even let them out. But the drawback about this form, because he's so lean and sleek, he loses the extra rubberness, and it does make him faster, but it makes him less durable. And then lastly, for number 1, I have Gear 4th form of Bounce Man, or Bound Man. The Japanese version does a little bit different, but Bounce Man is Luffy's go-to Gear 4th form. Whenever he originally fights somebody in Gear 4th, that's what we see. And it seems to be the best balance of speed and strength. Bounce Man makes the best of the muscle balloon technique using maximum amount of armament haki, and it also gives him an insane amount of rubber properties, which aids in his durability. Luffy also trained this using Rio, which even though he has not completely fixed the drawback, in the manga on the Raid of Onigashima, we've seen where Luffy has transformed into his Gear 4th form more times, I guess, and he hasn't ran out of time, if you will. When we saw him on the ocean, right, when they were going to Onigashima, he turned into Gear 4th, and he didn't have a drawback. When he was about to fight Ulti, he turned into that, and then but recently he was on Gear 4, and then I guess if he expands himself too much, then he still takes a drawback. But it's not as fast as Snake Man, but it sure does make up for it when it comes to strength, and it can pack a punch. This is the form that Luffy used against the Yonko. It's the only form that we've seen him use against the Yonko. And if he has something better, well, wouldn't he have used it already? Without a doubt, this is Luffy's current strongest form up to this moment. And there we have it, guys. This is all of Luffy's forms ranked by strength. Let me know what you guys think. How do you guys feel about Gears Nightmare Luffy? And do you guys think he'll get a Gear 5? I personally do. There's 5 gears when you are on a stick shift, so why not? But thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And also hit that notification bell so you guys never miss out on a new video. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat. It's on the screen in the description. I'm also on TikTok more. I actually recently deleted it because I got into it with somebody who's being mad toxic, and I wasn't trying to be toxic, but she took it some type of way. So I just deleted it, and I think I'm going to probably go away for a week, but it is what it is. But thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to unleash your potential.